Hey everyone, this is a chart of GAHC Global Arena Holdings since February 2017 up until present, which is May 22nd. This company is in the blockchain sector, closely tied to Bitcoin, which is based on the blockchain. If you don't know the fundamental side, there's no time to get into it here. I'm actually somewhat new to the sector. I've only really learned about Bitcoin in the last 3 weeks, but from looking at a few hundred YouTube videos, I can tell you that this sector, it's not going away, and it's in the very early stages of growth. But I'll leave the fundamental discussion for another video. So we see that GAHC had a interim high here on February 23rd. It had a semi-long decline, and it made a double bottom here. And then we had like an intermediate rally up to this point. And the last few weeks we've had this kind of moderate decline. So there's a few key things about this chart. For starters, this entire chunk of price action since February appears to be a compressing triangle. So you see these yellow, two yellow dashed lines that I made here. They're compressing, and what's significant is that price was held here. We made a higher low here. We were unable to break to new lows, denying the bearish case. Then we had an attempt up here for a breakout at the top range of the resistance in the triangle, which turned out to be a failure. And then the last few weeks we've made another attempt to break out again for a bearish scenario, but that appears to have failed. Now, that's not quite 100% yet, but it's looking very likely that this is a failure to renew the bearish case, at least for now. And the only reason I say for now, because we've only had 2 days of price action off of that, but it looks that way, plus with the volume here bursting as a rejection of the potential bearish scenario here. So again, we have this compressing triangle. Now there's not much room left in the triangle, and it does seem like GAHC is going to be able to get a breakout going here. Now, a lot of times in my experience that I've seen with stocks, if you looked at lots and lots of charts over the years, you'll notice that they tend to succeed on the third attempt. So this is the third attempt here, and for the bullish case, obviously we'd like to see that, but from a probability standpoint, I'd say it has a pretty good chance. But the alternative scenario is that we do not succeed here, and we kind of drift around or get another minor pullback here again before we really get ready for prime time. Now, what's interesting about this chart is that this entire compression here is the right shoulder of a very large inverse head and shoulders. So let's see if we can zoom out and show you that. Okay, so here's the longer term view. This goes back quite a ways. Now this looks a little bit messy. Not all inverse head and shoulders patterns are created equal or are perfect by any means, but you can see left shoulder here. Here you see the inverse head, and this is what I'm viewing as the right shoulder. So it's really significant that this is a big pattern. This goes all the way back to July of 2016, and that's important because it means you have a lot of energy for a sustained move, also known as price cause. So any breakout type move here, although there's likely to be intermittent corrections or zigzags, it's likely to have some sustainability because it has a lot of energy to work off of. It has a big base. So from a technical standpoint, things look pretty promising here. On the weekly chart, the price bars are smoothed over a little bit, and you can see here also a lot of times time symmetry in these patterns. The length of this left shoulder is sometimes roughly equal to the length of this shoulder. So from a time perspective, it seems like this, from the right side here, it seems like it's ready for a move. That's not always the case with time symmetry, but some of the better patterns, that can be the case. So, bigger picture, there's some potential here that this is really eventually going to morph into a much larger inverse head and shoulder pattern. You know, it's a bit speculative on my part because that's a huge drop for the right shoulder, and it's a much longer term time frame. Whether that occurs or not, that's time will tell, like they say. But as I said, the whole blockchain sector and Bitcoin combined, it looks very promising as far as the amount of capital that is going to move into this sector. So I think it's very early in the game. So it could very well be, that this is headed for a 0.16 target on a longer term basis, which gives it a measurement, into 30 cents. But it's very difficult to know when that would occur. So keep an eye on GAHC for sure. It looks very timely to me now on a daily, weekly, and the monthly chart.